When did karma hit a golden child so perfectly it felt scripted? Story 1. My cousin Ashley was the golden child of our family. Straight A's, captain of the debate team, full-ride scholarship, but also a manipulative brat who never faced consequences. I, on the other hand, was the problem child, mostly because I didn't fake who I was. Ashley had a habit of one-upping everyone at family events, graduations, birthdays, funerals. Didn't matter. She'd hijack attention like a professional diva. One Thanksgiving, she started loudly bragging about her internship with a prestigious law firm. Everyone praised her like she was the second coming. I congratulated her too, until she smirked and said, "Maybe one day you'll work in the mailroom where I'm interning." That was it for me. What she didn't know was I had started working in IT security, and weirdly enough, her firm was one of our clients. I wasn't trying to dig for dirt. I was just doing a routine compliance check when I noticed someone was logging into confidential files without clearance. Turned out Ashley had been snooping through client case files to get a leg up and name drop in mock court practices. I didn't report her. I simply passed it to my manager, who escalated it per protocol. The fallout was nuclear. She lost her internship, her scholarship, and because her acceptance into law school was contingent on that internship's reference, she lost that too. At Christmas, she was silent. Her mom tried to defend her, but everyone knew. And when someone asked me about work, Ashley didn't say a word. Karma didn't just tap her. It choreographed a full Broadway number and dropped the curtain on her spotlight. Story 2. My younger brother Caleb was the favorite child. My parents paid for his car, tuition, rent, everything. I had to work 2 jobs just to keep my lights on in college. Still, I kept the peace. Caleb always had this smugness, like rules didn't apply to him. He'd throw parties at our parents' house when they were out of town, trash the place, and I'd get blamed because I was the older, more responsible one. Fast forward to his dream job interview at a finance firm. He listed a ton of experience on his resume, none of which was real. Claimed he ran a student investment club, led a project at a hedge fund, etc. But what he didn't realize was the interviewer, my old college roommate. Small world. My friend texted me later that day, "Is your brother for real?" He said he managed a portfolio we worked on. I was the only manager. I laughed, but didn't interfere. A few weeks later, Caleb got blacklisted from every firm in the area for falsifying credentials. Word spread fast in that industry. Mom and Dad were livid. For the first time, they didn't bail him out. I guess they realized maybe the golden child wasn't golden, just spray-painted and glittered by favoritism. Story 3. Back in high school, there was this girl named Madison. She was the principal's daughter and could do anything without punishment. Cheating on tests? Ignored. Bullying kids? Blamed on others. She even keyed a teacher's car and got off with a warning. She especially loved tormenting this quiet kid, Jonah. He had some speech difficulties and was painfully shy. Madison once posted a deep-fake video of him stuttering through a love confession and got half the school laughing at him. But karma doesn't forget. Senior year, during a school board meeting open to the public, Jonah showed up with his older sister, a civil rights attorney. Turns out Jonah had been secretly recording incidents of Madison's harassment and the staff's negligence. His sister presented everything in front of the board, complete with timestamps, witnesses, and faculty names. The fallout? The principal resigned in disgrace. Madison got expelled 2 months before graduation and lost her admission to a private college that had already issued her a scholarship. Jonah? He got a formal apology from the district and a scholarship from the ACLU. Watching her get walked out of the school in tears felt like the world finally balanced itself. Story 4. My ex-best friend Tyler was his parents' pride and joy. He could do no wrong, even when he was cheating on tests, stealing other kids' things, or manipulating teachers. His parents bought his way out of consequences, even once bribing a principal to remove a suspension. We both applied to the same university. I got in on my own merit. Tyler faked a bunch of community service hours and plagiarized his entire admissions essay. From me. I found out too late. But karma loves a good setup. 6 months into college, the university launched a random academic integrity audit. Guess whose essay matched a public blog post word for word, the blog I had written years earlier. Tyler got expelled. His parents threatened to sue, but the evidence was rock solid. He had to return home in disgrace, and I heard his dad cut him off financially after that. I never got an apology, just radio silence. But every time I check his socials, it's another post about starting over. I guess that golden child status doesn't transfer when there's no one left to cheat off of. Story 5. My sister Nicole was the perfect daughter. Honor roll, prom queen, always so polite. In public. At home, she was a nightmare. She'd insult me, sabotage my things, and when I tried to speak up, our parents would say, "Don't be jealous of your sister." She even stole money from my savings once and claimed I spent it and forgot. My parents sided with her. Years later, Nicole married a rich tech entrepreneur. Lavish wedding, dream house, the works. She gloated constantly, but then came the prenup. She signed it without reading because, as she put it, "He's lucky to have me." Turns out her husband had her sign a clause that penalized dishonesty. Nicole thought she was clever enough to cheat discreetly. She wasn't. He found out and had her served with divorce papers and a lawsuit for breach of contract. The kicker? She walked away with nothing, not even the jewelry. It was all leased for show. Now she's living with our parents again, and they are blaming me for cursing her marriage by not being more supportive. I just smile and let karma do her encore. Story 6. Growing up, my older sister Olivia was the textbook golden child. Teachers loved her, neighbors praised her, and my parents treated her like a goddess. Meanwhile, I was the difficult one, mostly because I asked questions and didn't blindly obey. Olivia manipulated everyone. She'd crash my car, blame me, and somehow I'd be grounded. She once hacked into my email, faked conversations, and showed them to our mom just to keep me from going to a summer camp I'd earned. And she got away with it. Until her wedding. She had planned this over-the-top event, even told the bridal party what weight they had to be to fit into her vision. I was maid of honor only because my parents pressured her. But the universe had plans. At the rehearsal dinner, her fiancé stood up, made a toast, and then calmly said, "Before we commit our lives to each other, I need everyone to know I found out Olivia's been cheating on me with her co-worker. For 5 months." Dead silence. Olivia's face drained of color. She tried to lie, but he pulled out printed screenshots of their chats. Wedding canceled. Venue lost. Guests furious. Parents humiliated. I wasn't happy she got hurt, but I'd be lying if I said watching that pedestal collapse wasn't a sight I'll remember forever. Story 7. Brian was the CEO's nephew and our company's golden boy. Despite having no qualifications, he was made a department head in less than a year. People who worked their butts off for a decade got passed over while Brian strolled in late, took 2-hour lunches, and still got praised for leadership. One day, our system crashed due to a major database misconfiguration. Brian, of course, blamed a junior engineer who wasn't even working that day. The CEO believed him. HR prepped to fire the poor guy. Except, our IT director had recently set up a tracking protocol. It clearly showed Brian accessed the system, made changes with admin privileges, and then covered his tracks by deleting logs. Except he forgot one place where the backup logs were automatically mirrored. The receipts came out. CEO called an emergency meeting. Brian was fired on the spot in front of the entire leadership team. Even better, the junior engineer was promoted. Brian now works in a much smaller company, entry level. I checked LinkedIn last week. Still no promotion after 2 years. Story 8. My high school had a teacher's son named Ethan. He was allowed to do anything. Miss classes? Excused. Skipped detention? Erased. He once lit a firework in the hallway and got detention suspended because boys will be boys. I was in drama club. So was Ethan. I worked hard, practiced, showed up early. He skipped rehearsals but was still cast as the lead. On opening night, he didn't show. Everyone panicked. I stepped up, knew his lines. The director reluctantly let me take the role. I nailed it. The audience? Included talent scouts from a performing arts college. I got a scholarship offer. Ethan showed up 30 minutes after curtain call with a lame excuse, expecting sympathy. No one cared. The director publicly announced I'd be lead going forward. Ethan's ego shattered. He didn't return to drama after that. I went on to study performing arts professionally. He peaked in high school, and karma made sure he remembered it. Story 9. I worked at a luxury resort with a guy named Marcus, whose dad was on the board of directors. Marcus could get away with anything, sleeping on shift, snapping at guests, ignoring policies. He even crashed a company golf cart once, and I had to fill out the report because he walked away. The staff despised him, but nobody said a word. One day, a very high-profile guest checked in under a fake name, a celebrity trying to stay incognito. Marcus got drunk during his shift and snapped photos of her, then posted them online with a cryptic caption. It went viral in minutes. The next morning, lawyers arrived. The celebrity was furious. The board was livid. Marcus was summoned. Instead of apologizing, he smirked and said, "They won't touch me. My dad's one of you," one board member replied. "Not anymore." Turns out, Marcus's dad had just retired and hadn't told his son. They fired him immediately. The photos were traced back to his personal account. He was sued for invasion of privacy and had to settle. Last I heard, he was working as a barback in Vegas, desperately trying to rebrand himself. Story 10. Emily was the star of our neighborhood. Straight-A student, Olympic-level gymnast, homecoming queen, blah, blah, blah. She was also cruel, especially to anyone who didn't fit her brand. She had a favorite target, my autistic younger brother, Milo. She mocked the way he spoke, posted edited videos of him on TikTok, and called it just a joke. I tried to step in once and got accused of being violent. My parents begged me to stay quiet to avoid drama. Then came college applications. She posted her acceptance reveal on Instagram. Harvard, confetti, screaming, 20,000 likes. 3 days later, it all unraveled. A disability advocate group Milo followed recognized Emily's face from her videos. They reposted clips she had deleted. Turns out the admissions office had started doing social media audits. Someone forwarded everything directly to them. Her offer was rescinded. She posted a tearful apology. The usual, "I was young, I've grown" routine. But karma doesn't do second drafts. Milo got a scholarship for STEM excellence with a special commendation for resilience. Emily, local community college. No applause, no glitter. Story 11. In college, my roommate Amanda was the dean's niece, and she used it. She always had some exception granted. Late papers, extended absences, even special grading leniency. She didn't study, barely attended class, but still walked around like she earned everything. One semester, she decided to take a full course load of electives just to keep her GPA high. Problem is, she registered for a required ethics class known for its strict professor. She bragged about how her uncle would grease the wheels if she needed help. Well, the midterm was an in-person essay. No notes, no internet. Amanda paid someone to sneak her a pre-written essay and tried to swap it in during the test. Unfortunately for her, the professor had installed hidden cameras after a previous cheating scandal. When confronted, Amanda tried to cry and claimed it was a misunderstanding. The professor didn't even flinch. He brought in the footage. The school conducted a quiet hearing. Even with family ties, her academic dishonesty was too blatant. She got a semester suspension, lost her scholarships, and to make things worse, her uncle had to publicly recuse himself from school affairs, citing conflict of interest. She came back the next year a lot less smug, and with zero special treatment. Story 12. Trevor was our neighborhood's golden boy. Star athlete, perfect teeth, charming smile. Parents adored him. Teachers bent rules for him, and he coasted through life like he had cheat codes. I worked at a local diner. Trevor got a job there just for fun while waiting on a pro sports scholarship. He treated everyone like dirt, snapping fingers at servers, calling dishwashers peasants, and pocketing tips from shared tables. Then came the storm. One night, a family of investors came in after their flight got canceled. Trevor saw them as nobodies and ignored their table. I ended up taking their order, recommending dishes, and chatting with them. Turns out they were board members for the college Trevor was planning to attend, and they remembered how he treated them. One of them literally said, "Isn't that the guy who called us nobodies while picking his teeth?" He lost the scholarship. The college pulled the offer citing character concerns. His parents tried to appeal but were laughed off. I got a call 2 weeks later from one of the investors offering me a reference for school. Trevor now delivers DoorDash in the same neighborhood. Still polite to me, though. Story 13. My cousin Jenna was the golden child of our extended family. She was beautiful, talented, charismatic, and an absolute menace. She stole money, lied constantly, and gaslit everyone so well that even when caught, adults would somehow pity her. At a family reunion, she borrowed my aunt's expensive jewelry, wore it in Instagram selfies, and when it went missing, blamed the house cleaner. It almost turned into a legal mess until someone found the necklace in Jenna's purse. She cried and said it was a misunderstanding, and the adults fell for it again. But karma took its time with her. She started a lifestyle YouTube channel, preaching minimalism and living with integrity. She grew fast, brand deals, sponsorships, followers. But someone who used to work with her in retail leaked footage of her stealing high-end makeup and reselling it online. The story exploded. Her sponsors dropped her in 48 hours. YouTube demonetized her. Even her loyal fan base turned. She posted a teary apology video, then disappeared from the internet. Our next family reunion? Quiet. No one brought it up, and Jenna didn't dare show her face. Story 14. Nate was my former college roommate's younger brother, a trust fund kid with zero self-awareness and endless praise from his rich family. He crashed 3 cars in 1 year, blamed Uber drivers, and somehow always walked away without consequences. His dream was to become a DJ, but not the kind who actually worked, the just show up and press buttons kind. He mocked real musicians and used his dad's connections to land gigs. One night, he was supposed to open for a big-name act at a Vegas club. He told everyone he was going to blow minds, but karma had a beat drop of its own. He showed up late, drunk, and had the wrong USB with none of his music files. He ended up accidentally playing a backup folder filled with old voice notes and memes. Live. He was booed off stage in front of 500 people. Clips went viral on TikTok with titles like DJ Disaster and Rich Kid Fails Set. The big-name artist canceled his other appearances, and Nate got blacklisted from several venues. Now he DJs weddings for second cousins. And even then, people double-check his USBs. Story 15. There was a girl named Layla in my high school who was untouchable. Straight A student, head cheerleader, always winning awards, because her mom was the head of the school board. Layla once got a classmate expelled by falsely accusing him of hacking the grading system. He didn't even own a computer, just bad luck and Layla's lies. But senior year, she got overconfident. She submitted an original short story for a statewide writing competition and won first place. Local news, interviews, scholarships, the works. Except one English teacher, fresh out of grad school, recognized the story. It was a slightly modified version of a literary blog post from 5 years earlier. She even kept some of the typos. The teacher reported it quietly to the organizers, who, in turn, pulled her award and disqualified her. When confronted, Layla tried blaming ChatGPT, yes, really, but the committee found the exact blog and author. The scandal forced her to pull her college applications. No more press, no more spotlight. The boy she got expelled? His record was cleared. He gave a sarcastic speech at graduation and got a standing ovation. Story 16. Dylan was our department director's son and the poster boy for nepotism. At 24, he was given a supervisory role managing people twice his age, despite having no relevant experience and less than 0 people skills. Still, everyone treated him like royalty until the corporate audit came. Dylan had been submitting fake expense reports for months, claiming company lunches, mileage, and equipment purchases that never existed. He was so used to being untouchable that he got careless and used the same receipt twice. HR started digging. One quiet Friday, the CFO himself walked into our office. Within 2 hours, Dylan was escorted out. No goodbyes, no speeches. We later found out he had embezzled over $14,000. The company pressed charges. His father resigned for personal reasons a week later. What made it perfect? Dylan had just announced his engagement on LinkedIn, funded by those stolen reimbursements. His fiancée left him once she learned where the money came from. Karma came for his career and his love life in one synchronized swing. Story 17. Laura was the angelic child in our extended family. Pretty, soft-spoken, straight-A student. Everyone compared their kids to her. I couldn't stand family gatherings because all I heard was, "Why can't you be more like Laura?" Thing is, Laura was a nightmare behind closed doors. She bullied her siblings, cheated on every test, and once paid another girl to do her college applications. No one believed us when we tried to expose her, until she applied for a prestigious medical school program that required in-person interviews and a written ethics assessment. She hired a look-alike to take the exam portion. The girl even made it through the first part of the process until a professor noticed that Laura looked different from her ID. After a quick investigation, the entire fraud unraveled. Laura's offer was revoked. The admissions office blacklisted her. Our grandparents were devastated and stopped using her as the family standard. For the first time, no one asked me, "Why can't you be like Laura?" I just smiled and helped myself to another piece of pie. Story 18. Zach was the neighborhood's golden child. Star athlete, valedictorian, and captain of 3 different clubs. Everyone assumed he was headed for greatness. What they didn't know? He had a side hustle selling test answers and essays to wealthier classmates. He made a killing. It was so well hidden that even the teachers didn't notice, until he tried to sell a paper to the new transfer student, who happened to be the principal's niece. She played along, bought the essay, and immediately turned it in, along with screenshots of their entire chat. The fallout was spectacular. Zach's academic record was reviewed. Turns out, many of his top grades were linked to plagiarized work and ghost-written essays. His scholarships were revoked. He was removed from every leadership position. The final punch? He had given a How to Succeed with Integrity speech at the school's honor banquet just a week before. Now he works at the grocery store down the road. He still won't make eye contact with anyone from our old school. Story 19. In college, Alexis was everyone's favorite student government president. She had the looks, the charm, and the connections. Professors adored her. Admin staff gave her special access. She got away with everything, including spending student council funds on her personal spa days. She covered her tracks by filing fake invoices. She was untouchable, until one of the finance majors in student council decided to double-check numbers as part of a senior project. He noticed the math didn't add up, quietly collected receipts, matched up vendors, then presented it without warning during a public council meeting. Alexis turned pale. She tried to brush it off, but the school launched a full investigation. Within 2 weeks, she was removed from office. Her academic record was placed on probation. She lost her spot on an elite internship program that would have guaranteed her a government job after graduation. Her replacement? The quiet finance guy. And the entire campus started calling him the real president. Story 20. My brother-in-law Kevin was the golden child of his wealthy family. Always handed the best, never had to work hard, and somehow always got praised no matter what disaster he caused. Crashed 2 cars? Boys will be boys. Lost 3 jobs in a year? They didn't understand his creativity. He once mocked me for working retail during college, calling it low-level peasant work. I smiled and ignored him. Years later, Kevin's dad retired and expected Kevin to take over the family business, a chain of electronics stores. Kevin walked in like a king. First week, he fired half the staff to save costs. Second week, he started replacing inventory software with a trendy but incompatible platform. Third week, he accidentally wiped years of accounting records while playing around with the system. The company bled money. Clients left. One of the fired employees sued and won. Kevin tried blaming the former staff until auditors uncovered his trail of deleted logs and emails bragging about his revolutionary business vision. His dad quietly gave ownership to a longtime manager. Kevin was cut off and now sells life coaching services online. He once told me, "Karma's just superstition." I guess he finally met her. Story 21. Carter was my older cousin, the pride of the family. Straight-A student, varsity athlete, youth pastor, he had this glowing image everyone bought into. Meanwhile, I was the moody gamer kid who didn't go to church and got lectures about wasting potential. But Carter had a secret. He was using his good boy image to manipulate girls, lie to his teachers, and cheat on nearly every test. The kicker? He even stole my college essay, tweaked it slightly, and submitted it as his own. He got accepted into a top-tier university. I didn't. I was devastated until a twist of fate stepped in. Carter was invited to speak on academic integrity at a school panel. He decided to show off his essay as part of it. And my best friend, who was also applying to colleges, recognized the opening paragraph. He had read my original draft months earlier. He reported it anonymously to the school and to the university admissions office. An investigation followed. They found plagiarism not just in that essay, but in multiple school assignments. Carter's offer was revoked. His school disqualified him from valedictorian. My aunt tried to claim I had framed him, but the evidence was airtight. I got into a great university a year later, with a scholarship, and now Carter works for our uncle's landscaping company. No shade to the job, but it wasn't exactly where the perfect golden child saw himself at 23. Story 22. Sophia was the daughter of the company's biggest investor. She was hired into a mid-level marketing role, but within months, she was promoted to team lead, bypassing 3 highly qualified co-workers. She treated everyone like servants, snapping her fingers, taking credit for others' work, and constantly name-dropping her dad. She once called our graphic designer replaceable clip art. Everyone despised her, but no one wanted to risk their job by standing up until the annual marketing campaign contest rolled around. It was a big deal. The winner's work would go global. Sophia submitted an ad pitch that seemed oddly familiar. Turns out, she downloaded an entire campaign mock-up from a junior designer's private folder and changed the font. She presented it as her own, with full confidence. Unfortunately, she didn't realize the designer had watermarked the original files with invisible identifiers. When the judges asked for a walkthrough of the creative process, she blanked. The designer exposed the watermark system publicly. Instant fallout. Sophia was escorted out, and her father pulled his funding quietly, too embarrassed to defend her. The junior designer got promoted to team lead, and the office had cake. Story 23. There was this guy, Julian, in our law school. His dad was a high-profile judge, and Julian wore that connection like a crown. Professors treated him like royalty. He always had the best case studies, bragged about knowing inside info, and rarely participated in group work, but still got top marks. One semester, he skipped our mock trial finals to go skiing, told the professor he had the flu, submitted a last-minute brief, and somehow still got the top grade. But karma had eyes on him. The professor, who had just returned from medical leave, had a grudge. She decided to audit his sources. Not only did Julian plagiarize multiple paragraphs from online law forums, but he also copied an argument she herself had published years ago. She didn't report him right away. Instead, she brought it up during a live ethics debate in class and slowly baited him into defending academic honesty, then dropped the receipts mid-argument. The silence in the room was beautiful. Julian's academic standing was suspended pending review. His dad couldn't intervene without attracting headlines. He dropped out 3 months later. I still have the notebook where I wrote "Karma wins" that day. Story 24. Growing up, Lisa was my best friend, and the absolute golden child in her family. Her parents compared her to everyone, especially me. Lisa gets straight A's. Lisa got into honors. Lisa volunteers on weekends. The truth? Lisa was just good at lying. She forged signatures on recommendation letters, had her mom do entire projects, and even bribed a student to take her SATs. She got accepted to a prestigious prep school with a scholarship. I went to the local public school and worked part-time to help at home. 1 year later, I got invited to a regional science fair as a finalist. Guess who else showed up? Lisa. now representing her elite school. She presented a revolutionary project on sustainable energy. I froze when I saw it, because it was my idea, one I had brainstormed with her years ago and written down in my old notebook. That notebook with the original sketches and time-stamped photos was in my bag. I quietly showed it to the judges. Lisa was disqualified. Her school was contacted. Her scholarship was revoked. She tried to say I stole it from her, but the timestamps and metadata killed that claim. Lisa's parents stopped talking to mine. But for the first time, no one asked why I wasn't more like Lisa. Story 25. Brad was the golden child in our college friend group. Wealthy family, star quarterback, always in the spotlight. Professors gave him leeway, and he had a harem of sycophants who laughed at every joke and excused every shady move. He once sabotaged our group presentation by deleting our shared folder, just to make his solo section shine. The professor blamed us for being unprepared. Brad had one weakness: vanity. He posted everything online, his parties, his hookups, even his test answers. He used a Finsta account to boast about how he outsmarted the system by having someone write his final econ paper, thought no one would connect it to him. Except one girl in our group, tired of his sabotage, followed that Finsta. She screenshotted every post and sent them to the dean. They cross-checked the paper, found it matched an online sample, and launched a full academic review. Brad was stripped of academic honors, banned from sports, and had to take summer classes to requalify. His Instagram went quiet. The golden glow finally dimmed, and the rest of us got full credit for our presentation and peace. Story 26. Taylor was the youngest executive in our company's history, mainly because her dad was the founder. She strutted into meetings 20 minutes late, shot down ideas she didn't understand, and once told our lead engineer, "If I don't get it in 2 seconds, it's not smart," her worst habit, claiming other people's work as her own. She had a running habit of rewording reports from junior staff and presenting them directly to clients, then smugly accepting praise. But she picked the wrong victim one day. A quiet data analyst named Priya developed a predictive model that helped a client save $2 million. Taylor saw the draft and immediately exported it under her own name, before Priya had even sent it out. She bragged about it to the client on a call. What she didn't know was Priya had embedded her initials into the code in a hidden comment string, a digital fingerprint. The client was so impressed they wanted a live demo from the creator. Taylor panicked and tried to bluff. It went horribly. The client asked about a specific variable calculation, and she froze. Priya was brought in. She not only explained the model, but also revealed the digital watermark. The client informed our CEO. Taylor was demoted within 24 hours, moved into a consulting role that didn't even include client access. Priya now leads the data science team. Story 27. Back in high school, Eric was the theater program's golden boy. He always landed the lead, even when he skipped rehearsals or partied the night before performances. Teachers adored him. He was charming, until he wasn't. During auditions for our senior play, a new student named Mateo tried out. He had a stutter when nervous, and Eric immediately started mocking him behind his back, loud enough that others heard. The drama teacher dismissed it as boys being boys. Eric, of course, got the lead again. Mateo was cast as a background character. But karma didn't just hit, it took center stage. 2 weeks before opening night, Eric tore his ACL in a very avoidable skateboard trick attempt. He was out. The understudy had moved away. Guess who had memorized every line just in case? Mateo. He stepped up, performed with zero stutter, and blew everyone away. Even the theater critics who attended were shocked. He got a scholarship offer from a performing arts college. Eric sat in the front row, leg braced, watching someone he mocked earn a standing ovation that should have been his. Story 28. My friend Ben worked at a family-run restaurant where the owner's daughter, Lily, was treated like royalty. She rarely did any real work, but was listed as the general manager. She'd bark orders, take tips from the servers, and once fired a dishwasher for looking at her weird. Ben kept his head down and just tried to earn enough for school. One day, Lily blamed him for missing inventory, even though she had taken boxes of supplies to sell on the side for cash. She screamed at him in front of the staff and fired him on the spot. He left quietly, but karma was already cooking. Turns out, Ben had been helping the owner's sister, the real financial controller, digitize records. When the numbers didn't match, she launched a quiet audit. CCTV footage showed Lily loading the back of her car on multiple nights. The restaurant's reputation took a hit. The owner had no choice but to fire his daughter and issue a public apology. A few months later, Ben was hired back as a shift manager. Lily? She tried to sue her own dad for defamation. It got thrown out. She now works at a juice bar. No management title. Story 29. Ava was the miracle child of our extended family. Born after years of fertility struggles, she was worshipped. Every gathering became about her dance recitals, her awards, her brilliant ideas. Meanwhile, her younger brother Jordan, quiet, nerdy, kind, got ignored. At one family reunion, Ava roasted Jordan during a dinner speech, calling him the background sibling. Everyone laughed. Jordan didn't. What no one realized was that Jordan had entered an international coding competition and was one of the finalists. The final event? A televised hackathon judged by industry leaders. Ava made snide comments about it being glorified gaming. Until Jordan's team won the entire thing, live. His prize? A scholarship to MIT, a six-figure grant, and an interview on national news. The whole family suddenly remembered he existed. Ava tried to ride the publicity wave by posting photos of them as kids, claiming they were close. Jordan publicly thanked my family members who never mocked me for loving what I love. It was the most polite middle finger I've ever seen. Story 30. Derek was the golden boy of our college fraternity. Rich, connected, and somehow always got away with wild stunts. He once threw a rooftop party that sent 3 people to the ER. No consequences. His uncle was on the board of trustees, after all. He made life hell for pledges, especially one named Riley, a scholarship student who kept to himself. Derek humiliated him constantly, made him do dangerous dares, destroyed his books, and even spiked his protein shake with laxatives. Then came the alumni gala. Riley, it turns out, had quietly filmed months of hazing and abuse. But instead of going to the school, he uploaded it to a whistleblower subreddit under Derek's full name. It exploded overnight. By morning, news outlets picked it up. The college launched an investigation. Derek was expelled and banned from campus. His uncle couldn't stop the fallout, especially after donors pulled funding in protest. Riley, he got a letter from the dean personally thanking him for exposing the abuse and a safer place to live, paid in full by an anonymous donor. Story 31. Growing up, my neighbor Serena was every parent's favorite comparison. Piano prodigy, fluent in French by 12, and the subject of every brag at community events. I once overheard my mom say, "Why can't you be more like Serena?" after I got a B in algebra. But behind the scenes, Serena had a rotten streak. She bullied younger kids, stole credit from group projects, and made other girls cry with fake rumors. Still, no one believed us. She had that perfect smile and practiced innocence down to a science. Her downfall came in college when she ran for student body president on a honesty and ethics platform. She gave a speech about stopping academic dishonesty, and a few classmates recognized lines because she'd delivered almost the exact same speech at a smaller school 2 years earlier. Someone found it posted online, word for word, and traced her entire campaign to plagiarized materials. Her proposal, her bio, even her slogan. It went viral on campus forums. The university launched an academic integrity review. Turns out it wasn't her first offense. She was expelled mid-semester. The kicker? Her parents had already printed future senator banners for her dorm. Last I heard, she was working at a local bakery. No more speeches, just muffins. Story 32. My ex-best friend Lauren was the golden child in our dance studio. Her mom was rich and funded half the costumes, so naturally Lauren got center stage, even when she forgot half the choreography. She once tripped during a solo and still got a standing ovation, while I got benched for sneezing during rehearsal. Lauren's behavior was brutal. She'd hide other dancers' shoes, start rumors, and even told a younger girl her legs were too fat for ballet, but no one spoke up. Her mom ran the parents' committee. Then came regionals. Lauren bragged about her exclusive choreography for months, but I knew something was off. The routine felt familiar. A week before the competition, another studio posted a warning online. Someone had stolen their exact choreography. Turns out, Lauren had found a private competition video and copied every step. Word got back to the judges. On stage, halfway through her performance, they cut the music. The announcer declared the routine disqualified due to copyright violation. Lauren ran off crying. Her mom tried blaming the studio and got banned from further competitions. I didn't even place that year, but I didn't need to. Watching Karma do a pirouette on stage was satisfying enough. Story 33. Ryan was the golden boy at my first job out of college. Tall, charming, and the boss's godson. He didn't know how to use Excel, barely answered emails, and always delegated everything to others. Still, he was the one chosen to lead our biggest client's project. I was assigned under him and did all the work. Ryan took credit every time. He'd forward my reports with his name pasted on top. He even told HR I lacked initiative when I asked for a performance review. Then, during the final pitch meeting with the client, Ryan made a fatal mistake. He opened the wrong version of the presentation, one I had left full of placeholder jokes and inside references because I was still editing it. The title slide read, Client Strategy Plan, aka Ryan's cheat sheet of my work. The room went quiet. The client chuckled and asked, "Who's the real author here?" My director turned to me and said, "That's a good question." Ryan was taken off the account the next day. I was promoted to project lead within a week. He's still with the company, in a desk that doesn't get much sunlight anymore. Story 34. Amelia was the perfect daughter in my extended family. Honors student, prom queen, volunteer of the year. Every family event was just her monologue about college applications and leadership awards. Meanwhile, I was in trade school and constantly reminded of how different we were. But Amelia had a secret. She was a compulsive shoplifter. She bragged to her friends about getting away with it. Lipstick from Sephora, earrings from Macy's, even snacks from gas stations. All for the thrill. No one believed it, until she tried it at the airport. She stole a pair of sunglasses from a duty-free shop, not knowing that the store had recently installed AI-assisted surveillance. They flagged her face and called airport security. She missed her international volunteer trip. She was arrested, booked, and had to call my parents for help because her mom refused to deal with the scandal. I picked her up from the station and drove her home. That entire ride, she said nothing. The next family event? No speeches, just awkward stares and a polite thank you when someone passed her the mashed potatoes. Story 35. Colton was the golden child in our internship program, a nepotism baby with perfect hair and zero accountability. He was always late, gave dumb ideas in meetings, and used buzzwords like synergy without knowing what they meant. The manager still praised him nonstop. He mocked one of our team members, Jenna, for being too quiet and called her HR bait behind her back. What he didn't know? Jenna's dad was the regional VP. Jenna never said a word. She just did her job and let him spiral. One day, Colton gave a terrible presentation to a key partner. He blamed everyone else, including Jenna, and even CC'd senior leadership in his tantrum email. Jenna replied with a calm, bullet-pointed breakdown, time-stamped screenshots, calendar invites, and the original deck that he had butchered. 10 minutes later, Jenna's dad joined the email thread and said, "Thank you for the clarification, Jenna. I'll be speaking to Colton directly." Colton was let go that Friday. Jenna now works full-time on the executive track. No drama. Just delicious, cold, structured karma.